If I were to give you $30,000 right now, which I'm not going to, by the way, but if I were to, and I asked you to give $10,000 to a poor person, $10,000 to someone in the middle class, and then $10,000 to a rich person. And after you did that, to describe to me how they spent that money, what do you think your answer would be? I guess the better question is, would you accurately be able to answer that question before you went and did the task? Meaning that before you give the money to each one of the people in the three different groups, would you already have an idea of how they're going to spend the money? And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the mindset of, in general, right? Of course, it doesn't apply to every single person. That's impossible. But in general, the mindset of people living in poverty versus people living in the middle class versus people that are rich. And I'll be fully transparent here. I used to, see videos and stuff on mindset, especially pertaining to money, early in my journey for saving and investing. And I always thought, like, what a crock of garbage. I really always thought that, because I just wasn't into it. I wanted practical steps, and here I am. But now that I'm further into it, I'm curious about the question that I asked. Like, if I gave the $10,000 each one, how would they spend the money? And I think we have an idea, right? I think that if we look at the mentality of someone that is poor when it comes to money, we'll find that they probably believe that money is scarce. Inherently, they believe that, right? Because in their case, money is scarce. They probably believe that once they do get money, above and beyond what they need for their bills, it's time to reward themselves, because life is so difficult, right? Life is so difficult trying to make it from bill to bill, that if you do have a little bit extra, that should be used to reward yourself, to give yourself a break for always working so hard to get that scarce resource. And I think we see that a lot. I think, how many times do we see where someone that was poor their whole life comes into a lot of money? What are their tendencies typically, right? Their tendencies are to go buy the crazy things that they could never afford before. The clothes, the watches, the cars, all those things that they see all the time, but are always out of reach. That's the poor mentality. Let's move on to the middle class mentality. And this probably pertains to most of you watching. I know it pertains to me. Middle class. So middle class mentality is a little less about how do I get to the next paycheck? How do I put food on the table, right? So with that alone, there's a sense of relief, right? But I would say at the same time, we still have that same mentality of, I'm going to reward myself when I get above and beyond, because I also work hard. I think stability is a bigger factor here as well. You might have something in savings, so there might be a cushion, which is good. But I think that overall, the idea of getting money is the same. Like, in order to get money, I have to work hard. I have to maybe work overtime. I have to get more certifications and promotions so I can get the pay bump. But I only want the pay bump and the increase in pay so that I can buy more nice things, so that I can buy a new car or a bigger house, a house that I might mistake for an asset, when in reality it's a liability, because I'm paying for it every month. So there's still, and we'll see in a minute, there's still a separation between the middle class mentality and the rich mentality. And let's look at that right now. So the rich mentality, the focus here really is of growth and opportunity, and how do I use my money to go work for me, to go create more money for me. Not how do I just make more money by working harder? Not how do I make more money by getting promoted or climbing the corporate ladder, but instead, how do I make more money while I'm sleeping? How do I create an asset that provides and produces income for me without me having to break my back? That's what makes them rich, right? They can get paid 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can't work 24 hours, 7 days a week. You have to have assets. You have to have a business in the background, stocks that are growing, rental properties or investments that are appreciating in value. You have to have something like that that is producing income even when you're not working. And rich people understand that. Middle class, not so much. Poor people definitely don't. I think that all three understand that money is a tool, but they have a very different understanding of what kind of tool it is and what its primary function is. And as such, they use that tool very differently. Some with great success, and some not so much. So like I said, I used to think that these mindset videos were always just garbage. But I do think it's worth looking at, and I do think it's worth doing a self-assessment of how do I think of money? Like, how do I view money? I know my answer. And I'm not even saying that just because I'm on video. My answer is I invest my money super, super heavily. Like, that's anytime I get a raise, it's really never been to buy something new. I'm not gonna say it's never been. I guess it used to be, but since I've been on my financial journey, I see my money as a tool to go create more money, because my ultimate goal is to buy my freedom, and every dollar counts for that with me. But I think it's a good self-assessment and a good gauge. Am I thinking about money the right way for my goals? If your goal is not to be rich, then yeah, you can be middle class and you can climb the corporate ladder and you can do all those things. That's fine. It's up to you. It's just something to think about. So I hope you got something from this video, and leave me a comment. I'll see you next week.